Good evening, everyone, and we are so delighted to have you join us on this beautiful Monday morning. It gives us great pleasure to know that you're spending a part of your Monday evening with Neil and I. So thank you for coming on. We're blessed to have you with us, and we're looking forward to sharing with you this evening for the next 45 minutes. Just a brief introduction of who we are. My co-panelist for this evening is Mr. Neil Ray. He is the owner of the Reapproach. His organization focuses on helping youth and adults, helping adults better understand how to work youth behaviors. Neil is a certified Maxwell consultant. He's a former social worker and behavior clinician, and he's also supervised students in alternative programs, and he's a national trainer for the Restorative Practices Organization. And like I said, he's the founder of Reapproach LLC.
Thank you, Dr. Hersey. I appreciate that. I'm just happy to be able to share the screen with you on this evening, all the way down there in South Carolina. Dr. Hersey comes with 28 plus years of experience in the educational field, ranging from the classroom as all the way up to leading schools, leading alternative education schools, adult education. I don't think there is an age that you haven't taught or led, Dr. Hersey, and that's amazing. And I'm really excited to speak to your coaching space and how, you know, as a coach, as a leadership coach, and how your focus is to really help leaders gain clarity so that they can lead with purpose and intention. And so I'm really excited to see you stepping into that space as well, and really leading from that coaching area.
Thanks, Neil.
Yeah, no problem. So before we jump in, let's just find out. I know we got some folks still coming in, but who do we have in the room with us tonight? So if you are a teacher, if you are a substitute teacher or instructional staff, I want you to put a one in the chat. So enough about Dr. Hersey and now. Let's find out who we have in the space right now. If you are an administrator, a building leader, a dean of students, or any type of school leader, go ahead and put a two in the chat. And if you are a support staff where I've worked as a support in schools, counselor, social worker, paras, or any other school roles, don't be shy. Go ahead and put that in the chat right now. I just want to get an idea of who we have coming into the room. And if you are watching this on a replay, you can also, go ahead and put it in the comments. All right. So, just take a moment if you can to put in the chat where you kind of fall in these three categories: teachers, substitute teachers, instructional staff. You're going to put a one there, that in the chat. Where do you fall? We trying to figure out who we have in the room.
Good evening. I
Hey, I'm
support.
Robin, and I'm an administrator.
Hey, Robin, how you doing this evening?
Doing well. Good to be here.
All right, all right.
Sylvia, teacher.
Sylvia, teacher. Okay.
Wendell, retired administrator and teacher.
Yes, sir.
Ryan, assistant administrator.
Don't be shy, y'all. You can pop off while we still working on that chat feature.
That's okay. We thank you all for joining us and telling us what your positions are. We just wanted to have an idea of the persons that we have in the room.
So it sounds like we got at least a little bit of a cross section here. We got teachers, administrators. I know just by looking at some of the names, we got some support staff as well. I used to fall under that support staff area as a counselor, a school social worker, and as an administrator. I haven't taught before, but we understand that regardless of whatever position you have served or that you continue to serve in right now, it's that time of year. It's that time of year where things are getting a little dicey. You know what I mean? We're coming down to the home stretch. And so one of the things we wanted to do is just a little check in. We got about 6 to 8 weeks left in the school year. And so again, one, two, or three, where do you kind of fall right now? Is your gas light on? That means you're running on fumes. You still showing up, but you're barely holding it together? Are you a two, where you kind of got a quarter of a tank, you still got something left, but you could feel it draining every day? And then are you a three? That's a half a tank. You're doing better than most. You holding steady, you still showing up strong, but you're gonna need to refuel soon. And then I put that fourth one on there as well. Did you just break down? Are you out of gas on the side of the road where you completely are just wiped out and you need somebody to pull up on you and help fill your tank? And so we were going to ask you to go ahead and put that in the chat. We're still working through that. So if anybody wants to share, just raise your hand and then we'll call on you. We'll do it that way. We'll use the hand raise feature so we're not stepping on top of each other. If you just want to share, everybody don't have to share, but if you want to share where you might be, Miss Tate, come on off of mute, Miss Tate, and let us know which number you are.
I'm Sophia. I'm a parent, and I say 3.
Three. Okay. All right. Half a tank. That sounds good. Let's see who else we have here. We got any other hands up? Dr. Hursey?
Mrs. Naraya Gray.
I'm Narayan Gray, and I would say I'm a 3 as well.
Okay. All right. Folks are doing pretty
Is there
good.
anyone else?
Three. We got 2 threes. Anybody else representing in here? Any gas lights on? Anybody with the gas light? You might not want
Or is there anyone who's totally broke down?
on the side of the road. All right, that's good. That's good. I don't see no hands up. All right, that's what's up. That's what's up. So it's always good to just check in. We wanted to know how folks are doing, but sometimes it's good to just check in with yourself, and that number can change, as we get closer to the end of the year. It could go up, maybe hopefully after this session tonight, it gives you a little bit more in your tank to get to and through the finish line. And so, with Dr. Hershey's experience in education, my experience working in schools and schools adjacent for the last 20 plus years, we understand how important it is coming down the home stretch. And so this is really at the heart of why we were doing this. I wanted to take a moment too to just talk about how Dr. Hersey and I connected. It was about maybe 2 months ago. We were at a conference for John Maxwell Leadership Conference in Dallas, Texas, and it was thousands of people there from all over the world. And one of the things that that I prayed about was that I didn't want to just meet everybody, and obviously you couldn't. My prayer was that God would connect me with the people that, for me, assignment alignment is a big deal. I wanted it to be connected with people that had this, that we were traveling on the same path, that we had the same heart, that we had the same mind to serve others. And so Dr. Hersey and I connected down in Dallas, Texas. She reached out to me maybe about a week or so afterwards, which is rare because if you've been at these networking events and different things, a lot of times people they are picking up momentum and that kind of thing, but they don't always keep it going beyond the event. And I was excited when Dr. Hersey reached out with this idea to really pour into our folks that are in education, that are working in schools, to say, hey, listen, let's try to do something to help folks out down the home stretch. And so we just wanted to honor that tonight. With that in mind, if there's anybody that wants to share just maybe somebody that they have been grateful for in their journey, and working in education. It could be somebody that you work with right now. It could be somebody that you've worked with over the past that maybe spoke something into your life, or encouraged you along the way, or maybe inspired you to get into this field. Just go ahead and raise your hand if you want to share, who that person is, what their name is. You don't have to get into a long explanation, but we just wanted to create a little bit of space to honor those connections and those people that God has, put in our lives to help us along the way. Anybody want to, give anybody a shout out, or share a name?
What
Somebody's
I'll
been
say to
impacted.
add to that, Neil, is I believe in making sure that we let people know that we're grateful for them while they're alive. Being grateful or thankful for someone and not letting them know, not sharing it, is just like having a present and not unwrapping it. And so if you're grateful for anyone that's impacted your life, it could be someone in your building or someone that you've had mentor you along the way. We'll allow 2 or 3 of you to share out and give us a brief explanation as to what that person has done for you or why you feel grateful for that individual. Is there anybody willing to share? So like Neil said, I attended the conference and with the same mindset as Neil did, not wanting to connect with everybody, but connect with those persons who may have some add value to my life. And what I did was, as soon as I returned from the conference, about a week later, once I got settled, I went through and I reached out to those individuals who I felt impacted me in a certain way while attending the conference. And Neil was one of those persons. So we have Adela on. Adela, would you like to go ahead and share?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, we hear you.
Awesome. I am not a teacher or an administrator, but I do support the school system. Have sat on boards because I believe in everything that everyone on this call does on a daily basis to feed the minds of our future. And so, really and truly, each of you, I am grateful for you and the work that you do, because without you, our young people cannot be who they are grown into be. So thank you.
Thank you, Adela. What a wonderful
Good.
message for those of you that are educators. Is there anyone else who would like to share?
I'll say Mr. Ray is my person. He has talked me through a lot of challenging times working in the school system. He was my old principal, well, supervisor principal, and he has just helped through a lot of difficulties when just everyday school things. So I am forever indebted and just appreciate him as a person.
I
Thank you,
appreciate
Miss
that, Miss
Tate.
Tate. I appreciate that.
I would like to share, Lelo. I'm Anisha Ferguson. I am a PTA. I would like to give my flowers, or give the flowers to the Rays. They have been mentors, my brothers, my sisters. Overall, they've been encouraging me to just keep going and just have faith overall.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that, and the feeling is mutual to you, Miss Ferguson and Miss Tate. You both are young women who are in the field, on the front lines, in the trenches, and it's people like you know, that we had in mind when we wanted to do this. Who can we pour into, who could we connect with, and really just create this reset room. This is the first of many that we're going to be doing. We just kind of getting this off the ground. We already have plans, already starting to plan out something for back to school and getting folks in gear, to return back to school. And so we just wanted to create this virtual space where educators and people that work in schools and around schools can come together and connect and lift each other up and build each other up in this virtual space because, as you know, working on the front line or the trenches, as I like to say, is no easy thing, and it wears on you. It could be thankless. And just to have a room or a space where we can come and reset, recharge, and get the things that we need is really at the heart of what we do and why we're doing this. All right. So the reality check is here. And that is we got 6 to 8 weeks left, depending on where you are in this country. We got some folks on here from different states and whatnot. We coming down the home stretch. Behaviors are starting to rise. They already started. Kids can see the finish line and they're acting like it. As we mentioned, the tanks are getting empty. Some of the people shared on here that we about at a half a tank, but I'm sure you can think about some people that are completely checked out at this point or running on fumes, right? The list keeps growing. Testing, graduation, field day, reports, depending on what your role is, different things are required of you, and yet and still you're still showing up. And your gift is a presence. Your presence is a gift to our students, whether they say so or not. The fact that you keep showing up, that you're there every day, means a lot. And so we want to just go into what we like to call the love framework. And I'm gonna pass it to Dr. Hersey because this is really her baby and one of her frameworks that she crafted from her years of experience.
Yeah.
So Dr. Hersey, you want to talk about the love framework?
So I believe in anything when we do things, if we do it from the heart and we really mean well by what we're doing, I always take it back to being love and loving what you do. And so with the love framework, leverage your resources. There's a lot out there for you, and we'll go into a little more detail about that. Be organized and prepare. If you listen to one of the shorts that Neil and I did a few weeks ago, prepare for the chaos. We know things are going to be chaotic. Let's prepare for it. As a leader, teacher leaders, you could be administrative leaders, you could be leaders of non-certified individuals. Validate your team. It's important that everyone feels validated and loved by what they're doing. And then we want to make sure that we encourage one another. Everyone wants to hear sometimes that they're doing well and not just take for granted that people recognize what you're doing. And so with leveraging your resources, as all of you know, you have coworkers or co-leaders, individuals that are in your department. Don't try to do everything on your own. Find ways that you all can work together to lean on each other. Delegate and distribute the load of work. If you're an administrator, if you're a teacher leader, lean on your others in your department and do things that you can plan together to work together to help make it less stressful. If you're organizing some events at school, let's do it as a team and not solely rely on one person to get everything done. Connect students to teachers. Allow your students to pour into you. Take a few minutes, find out from them what went well this school year. What is this something that you feel I could do a little bit differently? Is it something that you would like to change? What should I do next year? If you ask students those questions, they will be honest with you. And you can use that information that you gain from the students to help build you or reset you into next year. Co-plan and collaborate. This is something that really goes a long way if you're not working as an individual all the time. I know as teachers, it's easy for us to, because we can control our classrooms and our classroom environments, and that is what we really should control. But it's also good to step out sometimes and let your administrators know that you're willing to help them do something different so that they can see things from your perspective. And it gives you an opportunity to see things from an administrative perspective. And then the last thing on the leverage your resources is to build on strengths. I've always heard people say, well, this is a weakness. I need to improve on my weakness. Yeah, that's true. But one of the things that John Maxwell talks to us about, and I forget which book it's in, is building on your strengths. If you think about if you really are good at something and you really, really hone in on that particular skill, how great you can be. Not saying that you're not going to work on those things that may be a weakness, but you do want to build upon your strengths. So leverage your resources, lean on your coworkers, connect students and teachers, co-plan and collaborate, and build on your strengths. And that's going to help you have a more solid landing for the end of the school year.
Thank you for that, Dr. Hersey. Really tapping in on that. I want to move to the O in love, organize. Man, this one is a big one for me because by nature, I'm gonna just keep it real. I'm not the planner, the organizer. I'm not the type A person. I'm more of a go with the flow kind of guy. But one of the things that I learned, particularly as I moved into leadership, but just in general alone, is we have to organize. And especially during this time of year where it's easy to let your foot off the gas, it's easy to just kind of go with the flow and deal with things as they come. It's important to have a proactive mindset. And so you know where all the events are. Make sure that you have them organized on your calendar, assign coverage where you need it in advance. If you know you're going to, even if it's a matter of if you know you're going to take a half a day or whatever the case may be, just try to plan and organize as much as you can because the chaos is going to come. The behaviors are going to come. So we need to have a plan in place to make sure that we're not getting caught off guard. One of the mindset shifts is to have a backup plan for the backup plan because even your plan B can get foiled. Somebody calls out or a bus comes in late or whatever. One of our schools today in one of the districts that I work with had a blackout, and the internet went down. And so they had to pivot and go into, paperwork and other assignments and things like that. So just have a backup plan to the backup plan. I love this one. Keep cool and calm demeanor. Don't let them see you sweat, as they say. But really, just have yourself prepared for anything at this time of year because it can go down. We know that the pressures are mounting and building, and if we can just manage to keep a cool head, a level head, a calm demeanor, and really lean on our planning and trust our planning, then we have a better chance at making it through into the to the finish line, what I'm saying, with love. And so the next one is validation. Dr. Hersey, you want to step on that one?
So as a leader, I always like to make sure that those persons that I'm working with know that I appreciate them. And there are many ways that you can validate your team, but you want to make sure that you set clear expectations. If you're going to have someone do something for you, you're going to, like we talked about, co-teaming and planning and collaborating. As an administrator, if you're going to give someone that task, let them do it. Don't micromanage, but just set up checkpoints for them to check in with you to make sure that everything is going to that things are being taken care of. Provide meaningful support. So you can't expect someone to do something. And this is not just administration. This can be as a teacher. You can't expect your teachers to do something if you're not giving them the right resources in order to get it done. So if you're a teacher leader, or administrator, or you're teaching students, if you're doing something, make sure you provide meaningful supports and then acknowledge wins publicly. We all like to be celebrated. Students like to know that they're doing well. So acknowledge those wins in front of the classroom. If you're an administrator, you may want to acknowledge your teachers at a faculty meeting, but let them know that you appreciate what they're doing. We talked about relationships and building relationships intentionally. You can't just assume or that a relationship is going to form. When you're validating your team members, find ways to build relationships with your teachers. Find ways to build relationships with your students and your staff. It's the small things that make a difference. Complimenting someone on the shirt that they're wearing, on a new pair of shoes. Students get so surprised when you say, "Oh, I noticed you changed your hairstyle." But do those little things to compliment them and let them know that you see them. A small hello goes a long way. And then be in it with them. Never ask them to do something that you would not do yourself. As a principal, anything that I asked my staff to do, it was something that I was willing to do myself to let them know that I too take ownership in what we're doing because we're in it together. And if we all can work together, things are going to be that much better. We'll have that much more of a success.
Absolutely, Dr. Hersey.
And one other thing I'm sorry, Neil, to go back.
No, go ahead.
When you're doing even if you're doing a workshop with your teachers during the day, or you have students sitting in an activity during the day, don't just be that administrator that walks past. You need to sit in there and be engaged with what they're doing because it lets them feel that you are a part of it and you want to learn just like they're learning. Don't assume that I already know it. you have to be fully immersed in what they're doing. And that gives the teachers more respect for you. It gives the students more respect for you if you're a teacher, if you're with students, so that they know that you are really trying to be a part of and engage what they're doing, because you can't go in and observe or evaluate a teacher for something if you're not aware of what's going on yourself. And that relates to like professional developments or trainings or bi-period meetings that you may be doing throughout the school year. And then the last E is to encourage. So take a moment to reflect, breathe, and you must be able to reconnect with that better version of you. If your tank is really running on empty, if you don't take time to take care of yourself, you're not going to be able to help take care of others.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. One of the things that I love on here, Dr. Hersey, is ask the students to pour in. Give the students space to tell you what you've meant to them this year. I don't know that that happens enough in our schools and in our classrooms in terms of giving students a voice. I mean, you'd be surprised, the impact that you made. Sometimes it's the thing that you have forgotten about that you said or that you did for a student that really made the impact for them. I know I can think about things that teachers said to me years ago, even going back to high school, and before that either, made me feel some type of way in a negative way, but especially those in a positive, those that spoke life into me, those that gave me the extra encouragement. And so give the student space, to share, whether it be through proactive circles in your classroom or maybe an exercise or an assignment to say, hey, how have I helped you out this year? Or what's been the best thing about this school year or in this semester? You'd be surprised how you've impacted the students and what they might share. And so that can go a long way in giving you encouragement and giving you that extra push that you need. One of the things, another one is scheduling nothing days. Now, this can't typically happen until we get to the summer. So this gives you something to look forward to. But even within the school year, as we're coming down the home stretch, there might be certain areas where maybe you block certain days out from meetings or different things of that nature. But it's really about recharging, reflecting, and just kind of filling your cup, as we head down the stretch here.
And you also must take time to reflect. We talked about asking students to pour into you and you pour into students, but you have to pour into yourself. Take a few minutes each day if you can, or so many times a week, and sit down and journal. Review those things that went well, those things that did not go well, and then celebrate. Use those notes from your self reflections to help you grow as a leader. Remaining the same is not an option. And we all have to learn and grow so that we can become better. Regardless of where you are in life or what your status may be, you still have opportunity to grow and be better. Being the same, staying in the same spot is not an option. And sometimes people don't understand it when you're making those changes in your life and you're doing things to better yourself. But that is a requirement for you as a leader to pour into yourself, plan your reflection time, and use those things that you learn from your reflection to help make you better for next year. And one of the other things that we talked about, Neil and I talked about, was the countdown. And he may elaborate on that, but I was never the one to put a countdown on my board because I felt like that made students feel that I was rushing them away. And so I want you to flip that and think about how the students may feel when they see that you're counting down or asking that, it's time for you all to leave school. And it can go both ways, but just think about that as you go back into your classrooms or your offices tomorrow. And then remember that you always matter because you still showed up. Regardless of how exhausted many of you may be, or you're halfway there, you're still showing up. And so you should celebrate yourself for what you're doing and not be so critical of yourself or down on yourself when you're having those bad days, because you can always start over. Every day is a fresh start. It's a new start. And we started out this webinar with asking you all to say someone or speak about someone that you've been grateful for. One thing I always made a habit of doing, and I have a friend who's a principal who does this as well, pull out those cards and just give people simple notes to say, thank you, I appreciate you, I value what you do. It can be 2 or 3 sentences, and you would be surprised at how often I would go into someone's classroom or office and they would still have that card hanging up on their wall because people don't write and share cards as much anymore. And so that's one thing that you can do is let people know that you appreciate them and you value them, and that makes you feel better.
Absolutely. No, this has been great, Dr. Hersey. That is the love model. We if we follow those four and we can talk about making that making that available to you all who have attended. If you want to reach Dr. Hersey, you had her email address here on the screen, erhersey@gmail.com. And if you need to get in touch with me, it is neil@thereapproach.com, neil@thereapproach.com. And so we wanted to take this time not to spend the whole time talking, but we wanted to take maybe the last 10 minutes or so just to open up for any questions on that folks might have about anything that was shared tonight. If there were any general questions that people might have, we want to just open it up from your perspective as a teacher, or we might even have parents on the line. This is the opportunity to just get some questions answered while we're in this space together. So we'll pause and create some space for that. While you're thinking of your questions, just raise your hand and we'll go ahead and acknowledge you. I want to, Dr. Hersey, we've been talking about showing gratitude and Thanksgiving to folks and whatnot. I want to acknowledge Dr. Wendell Yorkman on this call tonight. He's actually one of my uncles who has been in education as so many different roles in the Pennsylvania school systems. I'm not sure if he can come off of mute right now, but if you can hear me right now, Uncle Wendell, I want to just really shout you out because before I even knew that I wanted to work with young people in schools or in any capacity, I knew that he was already doing it, and just to have, somebody in your family that was educated, that had went to college, that was working in schools, that was making an impact, that was leading schools, leading as a consultant, as a coach, and for me to be stepping into that space now is a real blessing to have that. So, Uncle Wendell, I'm not sure if you can hear me, if you can come off of mute or not, but I wanted to go ahead and give you that shout out now and really give you an opportunity to just maybe share some words of wisdom in the reset room here.
I'm not sure I'm off of mute.
We can hear
I
you.
am. Thank you. I just don't know how to make my face appear. But thank you for those kind words. I have been, I started out as a teacher's aide at a special needs daycare center. And for me, that was back in, don't laugh, back in the 70s. And I realized then the love that I had for teaching and leading and impacting young people. I've done a lot of different things in terms of work. And when I sat down eventually and decided and tried to determine what brought me the most satisfaction, it was actually teaching. So I went to school. At the time, I was a community college dropout from Philadelphia Community College. So I went back to school at night and got my teaching certificates, and then the rest is history. But I've served as a teacher's aide, a teacher, a principal, a chief academic officer with charter schools, a coach and consultant doing professional development with teachers, coaching principals and administrators. So I've worked on the college level also. The point that I'm making is not to brag about what I've done. I still have such a love for education that even at the age of 75, I'm here now looking to see what my nephew Neil's doing with Reapproach and how I could sneak in and be a part of something. Because it's just retirement is overrated. So I'm hoping, I love what I heard today from both of you. And I have been partially John Maxwell trained. I didn't finish that course. I went on to get my doctorate, but I didn't finish John Maxwell. But I'm very familiar with his works. And that's about it. I'm going to be a part of this if you allow me to be, as much as you allow me to be.
Listen,
Okay.
thank you for that, Uncle Wendell. I didn't know you was going to jump on here and interview for Reapproach. So we'll definitely talk. But again, I appreciate your service and all that you've done in the field to really lead the way. And there's room for everybody to serve in this space. And so if there are any, just again, want to open up for anybody that might have a question for Dr. Hersey, for myself, or anything to just share. This is our space, y'all. This is the reset room. And again, this is something that we are going to continue doing, at least, as much as the need is there, you know what I mean, to pour into one another. And so we want to make sure that, that your voice is heard.
And we would prefer if you all speak up. I understand the chat is closed and I can't figure out why it's closed. So please feel free to talk. We want to hear your voices.
Yeah, we got Adela's hand.
Ms. Robinson, let's let Miss Sylvia Robinson go.
Okay.
Hello. I really enjoyed this. and I'm taking in a lot. I'm a retiree who came back, and I don't have a question yet. I'm gonna talk to Miss see later on. But I like the notion of the handwritten note. I love handwritten notes. I'm 70. I'm from that era where we wrote little notes to each other, and we wrote this and we wrote that. All the things on computers and those kind of things just kind of like and I don't even like looking at the computer and the phone as much unless I'm playing a little mind game or something like that. But it's really helping a lot just hearing y'all and looking at the pointers that you gave us tonight. And I really enjoyed it. And I'm looking forward to joining you in future Zoom meetings where you pour into us and help us as teachers. Because I have so many people that have helped me. I didn't want to start naming one person who has helped me on this journey in education. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Robinson. You're right. And I know we're supposed to be boycotting Target, but normally I would go in Target and they have a box of about 50 to 100 cards for less than $10. And my goal is to get through those cards in a certain period of time. And so that's what I do. I just write notes and I drop them in the mail or put those in the teachers' boxes when I was in the building and do the same thing for students. So thanks. I'm glad that helped you. Adela?
I know that Neil mentioned that you guys will be doing this again. And Sylvia is saying that she will join. Has there been an established cadence that have been decided upon already or not yet?
Yeah, not yet, not just yet. The next step that we have been talking about is something for the start of the year, just to kind of get everybody in gear coming back to start the school year. But we really want to hear from the people. We don't want to do something that's not, that where there isn't a need. We know there's a need for the reset room, and we appreciate everybody even being a part of history, the very first reset room. So but in short, though, there is no cadence that's been established yet, but we are already in the works to get something going for the start of the school year.
My suggestion to that then would be because I think with the turnout that you all had today and the participation and your engagement is each one reach one. And so everybody that's on the call is to suggest that everybody bring somebody. And it sounds like there are folks from around really the country. And so it's not just isolated to one area. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, our goal, Adela, was to reach as many individuals as we possibly could reach, and so it was sent out to persons not just in our states, but I think Neil even did something on YouTube to kind of advertise it.
Yeah. We putting it out to everybody, but I'm a firm believer that, the folks that are meant to be in the room at that particular time are there. And we are grateful for those that have turned out today. But I totally agree, Adela, that if we all bring somebody for the next one, then the room size doubles, and that only helps us all out to be able to be in the collective space to share. And again, this is a space that we want everybody to feel ownership and belonging in. This reset room is for all of us, right? So while Dr. Hersey and I may be facilitating, this is definitely something that we want to build and continue to build on where we all can begin to take ownership. Yeah.
And we really appreciate you coming out and taking a few minutes, giving us 45 minutes of your day. And we do have a quick 3-question poll that we would like for you to answer just to give us some honest feedback. This is our first time doing the reset room, and we'll hang around a little bit longer for anyone that may have additional questions or would just like to chat. We are here. We're available to do whatever we can. We believe in adding value. We're not selfish people. This is not something that we're getting paid to do. We want to add value to someone else's lives. And so we're here. I'm going to go ahead and launch the poll for you all to fill out, and then we'll hang around for anyone else that may have any additional questions or would like to just chat. Neil, did you have anything else you wanted to add?
No, just y'all know how to reach us. If I'm gonna put, I don't want to have too many things going. I was gonna put our
Let's make sure they can see it. Are you all able to see the poll? It's 4 questions.
yeah, you can put
Yeah, I see
Okay.
it.
Thank you.
awesome.
And to all of my South Carolina folk out here, some of my Richland District 1 family members, I see people from Richland District 2, and I see someone from Marion County. We appreciate you all coming, joining us, Orangeburg. And the next time we'll make sure that the chat is on so you all can drop those locations in the chat box for us. But we enjoyed hearing the voices. Sometimes if you just chat, that's what I was telling somebody Saturday at another youth conference. We're so accustomed to texting that we don't take time to have real conversation. And so it was great hearing your voices and not just having to read what you put in the chat box. So we thank you for being with us and helping us while we get through these technical challenges that we had this today. But overall, I think it went well, Neil, despite the chat box not working after we had it
A lot of fun.
activated.
Yeah, for sure.
We
For
did
sure.
go
I
in
had
and
a
make
lot of fun.
sure.
This was dope. Yes, man. All right. So if you yeah, as Dr. Hershey said, we're gonna hang around for a little bit. I'm gonna put the jazz music back on. You know what I mean? If anybody wants to stick around and just chat, we'll be on for maybe another few minutes or so. But if that's everything, please go ahead and enjoy the rest of your evening. Like Dr. Hershey said, we appreciate you spending a few minutes with us on a Monday. You could have been doing literally anything else, but you chose to be here with us, and we appreciate that.